Team ban.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Premier League presentation, bringing you guys a game between Team Liquid and 3D Clan. This is Game 3 in this best of 3 series, 1-1 on both counts, and it looks like we're going to be heading on into a very, very interesting one. Team Liquid taking down the first one. Now, we also saw 3D Clan come back with some really nice carry action from the Phantom Lancer late game, and from there, we're proceeding on in, and I'm curious to see what each team has in store for us for this next round. I'm Blaze, I'm here with Rainmaker. How's it going, man?
Oh, it's going really good, and here we go and see a Clockwork ban coming out from 3D. They just don't want to deal with that hero. Bulba's been a complete nightmare to deal with. He's in the past couple of weeks, he's just gone and shown all the things that hero can do, and his cogs are always on point, and it's such an irritating thing to deal with. Anyway, I'm really excited to see this game. 3D has taken a game off Team Liquid, which, you know, not many teams can say they do these days, and they're looking to topple the Giants, and if they're able to win this game, 3D is going to make a huge name for themselves. I'm sure they really want to get this to work out, and I'm curious to see if they have anything planned, anything in particular they can do this third game, this last game in the series, and have hidden pocket strategies. On the other hand, Team Liquid, they've been going for super stable lineups, trying to go and pick up their gyrocopter. The Clockwork is already gone for them, and they don't have the Nyx Assassin to work with, but they might be able to do something more interesting. We saw Visage last game. It didn't quite work out for them, but through the early game, it was a huge factor. A lot of nuke damage coming out that way. What are they going to go for their second ban here? Are they going to let the Keeper Light go through? Are they going to let the Darks here? No, they're actually banning out the Phantom Lancer, and this allows a couple of very strong heroes to end up picking the Bat Rider on 3D Clan, which is going to leave the Coddle in the capable hands of Fluff.
Yeah, this will be very interesting here. A couple of respect bans on both sides. The Clockwork taken off the board, as well as the Phantom Lancer. It's just pretty much both of the teams knowing that that's kind of innate to their strategy, going for a super late game carry in the case of 3D Clan, or the potential initiation of the capable Bulba to be able to not only initiate well with the hookshot and separate the battlefield with the cogs, but also just that simple rocket flare getting some vision. I mean, that's completely underrated in these kinds of games, but knowing where your enemy is and being able to outposition them through that is immense. So we'll have to see. Like you said, there are a lot of considered high-tier heroes that are still available in the pool as a result of these ban actions, and we'll have to see what Team Liquid wants to draft now that Clockwork isn't going to be one of their two picks.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to go and just see, you know, Keeper Light and perhaps even a Darkseer. Just two very strong, stable heroes that can be laid in a lot of different ways. They do have a lot of room, but I think those two are probably the safest heroes to go with. They give you a lot of good AoE, they give you a lot of decent team fight, and they're very strong in the lane. If they choose for something else, that just means that, you know, Fluff has something planned, and I'm very excited to see it. They also have a chance to go into the Magnus, but I don't think Korak really plays that hero all too much, and it's not the super strong on the long lane. We saw it also being, you know, rather ineffective in the jungle as well, and then not able to really transition out. So while he's a hero that could be picked, but I don't think he really fits Liquid's style these days.
Yeah, so that from there's a lot of different flexible options, and I mean, you could see like a gyrocopter or a puck because they have so much diversity and they're kind of more unpredictable to draft against. But like you said, that Darkseer is really, really powerful. But they're going to go with IX Shadow Demon to start things off. The disruption into Illuminate guarantees essentially at least a 2-second Illuminate, if not a 3. So that could be very, very powerfully used in the right hands, and also opens up the option of going for an aggressive tri-lane if they feel 3D Clan's carry is vulnerable enough in the early game stages. However, Gyrocopter, if that is going to be played as their number 1, isn't one of those carries. He has enough versatility and damage output with the Rocket Barrage. If you disrupt him, it won't be as effective because it will hit on at least 2 illusions to split up a little bit of that damage, but either way, he's still a pretty powerhouse in the early game, used within the right laning situation, and Bane is definitely one of those heroes to set him up.
One thing to note is if 3D Clan will go and try to do that long range Bat Rider again, or if in fact they're going to go and put him mid. This is just one of those things. Oh, a Nature's Prophet picked up by Team Liquid. This is just give them a lot of global presence, and beyond that, it's just very efficient. They're going to have a lot of ability to go and farm, and I'm fairly curious though. Are they going to go and where are they going to go and lane this? Because if they go for something like a long lane Nature's Prophet and just start him woodsing quickly, that would probably be the most standard option, but it isn't completely unusual to go and see a mid lane Nature's Prophet. A little bit less common these days, but it does do fairly well against you know, all the heroes that 3D Clan has right now, which could all theoretically go into the mid lane. And I feel that Korok, with a lot of early levels in farm on a hero that has global mobility, would be an absolute nightmare to deal with. Probably just going to be on the long lane, probably going to see Bulba do it, and Bulba, you know, fantastic long lane player, definitely a very safe player, and also as active as Korok is. So they're going to be able to get a lot of work done here.
I would actually have to say that if 3D Clan isn't looking to first pick the Lifestealer in this next drafting stage, they have to ban it out. Putting a Lifestealer on TC, who he can invest into Nature's Prophet, there we go. If he invested into Nature's Prophet, teleports across the map, it's just a global surprise party that can really catch somebody off guard with some good warding that unfortunately won't be so favorable for them. They'll be taken down really, really quickly, and it's just a really powerful maneuver that they definitely needed to look into because they didn't have the Shadow Demon counterpick to just use the Demonic Purge, and even if there is Bane's Fiend's Grip, there are plenty of ways to work around that with a lot of disables.
Yeah, one thing to note though is Team Liquid actually has no disables right now, no really hard disables. They do have the disruption, but that's not really what you're looking for. 3D Clan, on the other hand, is chock full of them. They have that homing missile. You know, Bane is basically, you know, a Swiss Army knife of single target disable, and Batrider has the lasso to work with. So they've got a very good spread there, but it's definitely going to come down to like how these last two picks shape up the lineup. 3D Clan could go for something, you know, continue the aggression, maybe pick up a Lena to go really well with that Bane, and go for a super aggressive kind of try. Or they could, you know, just play more defensively, grab another kind of farming support, which 3D Clan loves to do, and just take the game into long game because they do have the hero to do that. I'm curious to see what Team Liquid will pick for a carry. You know, with that Nake's gone, that is probably something they feel very comfortable running. TC's very strong on that hero. And I think they need something that is going to give them a bit of reach against this gyrocopter. We could see something like a Luna. The Luna is very strong with the Nature's Prophet. The increased Lunar Blessing Aura gives your allies a lot of damage. It lets you go and mow down creeps really well. Synergizes very well with the Nature's Prophet and the Caudal Blast. But I'm not exactly sure what they will pick up. The Puck wouldn't be bad in this case either. Just, you know, a lot of disruption available.
Sure. Team Liquid very wisely banning out a bunch of frontline, just hard, tanky initiators, the Darkseer, Magnus, and Undying, all wanting to be right up front in the action, and that's not where Team Liquid wants to have to deal with. So they're going to take those all off the board, and 3D Clan will have to look for something else if they're looking in the terms of strength initiation. I wouldn't say like an Axe would be out of that style, but it would be difficult to lane. We do see Korak picking up that Puck and willing to use them very, very extensively, but Rubik does have a couple tricks up his sleeves himself. He can get some good steals off with Illuminate. Even a Global Teleport could be immense for just having a lot of unexpected potential to gank on around, get a Telekinesis up, so on and so forth. So it'll be pretty interesting, all these heroes going back to back, but I do think it's going to have to be a long lane Nature's Prophet, dual support on the bottom lane presumably with Shadow Demon and Keeper of the Light, and then have the Puck on the mid with a carry, but he's got to be a durable one. Maybe even like a Dragon Knight or something might be appropriate, though. Again, those Lassos and Fiend's Grip can dish out a lot of disables to limit a BKB, a reliant carry like that.
Yeah, I mean, Dragon Knight would be a pretty interesting choice there, and also it does combo quite well with the Keeper of the Light. Just keeping Dragon Knight's mana up makes his Flame Breath into a terrifying nuke, and if you're able to go and, you know, disrupt someone, get the damage amp on them, and just follow up with a Breathe Fire and the Keeper of the Light Blast, that is enough to burst someone down, so it's an interesting choice. Again, I think that a Luna might be the most appropriate here, because you can just tank up, pick up the drum, pick up the BKB, and just, you know, have a lot of impact that way. You can scale very well into the late game with Glaives, and beyond that, the extra damage you give your entire team. Oh, we're going to see Starfix Storm. Yeah, it's going to be sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exciting.
That's certainly going to change the pace of the game, but now we have to see what Team Liquid is going to answer back with. Nature's Prophet, it's really great against Nature's Prophet because of the fact that he shuts down split pushers hardcore. The second they step out of line, start putting damage into a tower, suddenly he TPs to the tower behind it, initiates with that ball lightning, and sets his team up for tons of disable follow-up. So you go in, you get the Electric Vortex, follow up with a Fiend's Grip, and that is 100% dead Nature's Prophet. So he won't be able to go for hardcore split push unless he has full vision of where everybody else is on the map all at the same time. And that's not very common, the kind of games that 3D Clan like to play, roaming on around and playing pretty aggressively in their counter ward sense, with the Bane willing to just commit a lot to sentry wards. But they do pick up the Luna. Like I said, it doesn't mean they have that much on the front line as far as durable action, but as long as they are okay in their lanes, Luna is going to be able to go into a great stage where she can, TC can compete toe-to-toe with Nexus with that AoE damage output, and it synergizes nicely with the Illuminate and Dream Coil combo, and just being able to hold them in place, dish out a tons of magic damage, and then doing the physical damage to follow that through. And I think it could be extremely effective as long as they can make sure that Batrider and Bane can't have their way with her.
Yeah, another interesting thing to note is like Keeper of the Light and Puck work really well together, because you're talking about Dream Coil setting up for Keeper of the Light Blast, but then you have Blinding Light setting up for the Dream Coil Stun. You can go and get an additional silence off. You can set up your balls really well. It goes and puts everybody in a really good position to get off a lot of additional Shadow Demon. What is his... man, I always forget this. Shadow Poisons. and it's it feels a lot better when you have both of them, and all those small synergies, they add up quite a bit.
Most definitely, most definitely. So this is going to be pretty interesting. Early on, I'm not sure if they're going to be looking into any mid-pull type action. Like I said, the lanes should be pretty traditional with Fluff and IX Mike focusing on making sure TC can farm up insanely well, with Korok going on the mid, and Boba can opt for the top lane, and then when he feels unsafe based on the potential of Bane and Rubik to pull him out of position, he can just opt to, instead of worrying about creep skipping and pulling the wave back, he can just go ahead and relegate himself to the jungle and keep on keeping his GPM up, maybe even go for an early Midas to make sure that he can continuously get good levels, good gold to work with, that he can get bigger and better cool items such as the mechanism, though Keeper Light shouldn't have too much trouble in that regard.
Yeah, it seems like Bulba's actually just going to start on that bot lane. On that bot lane, he's just going to maybe even do some mid pulls for Korok. He's gone and cleared out the creeps, and it's going to make it fairly easy. Also, you can just give a lot of vision with those treants and pull that way. It's kind of similar to the Shadow Poison we saw IX Mike do last game. But it's fairly interesting. He's decided he just doesn't want to have items now. He's running back to base, so I guess it doesn't matter anyway.
Pretty much what I'm thinking about that is he's taking down the tree so they can do mid pulls without having to waste any tangos, and from there using the treants to scout the rows. So he'll get back up to full mana, grab his items, and decide what he's doing from there. But based on how many claries he's picked up, I think you're right about the early jungle.
Yeah, it's just a little bit safer because you just don't want to take any chances. Because if you start off in the jungle, you're guaranteed to get some experience. While if you start off in the top lane, if they go and mess with your, they mess with you pulling the creeps in, you can be stuck at level 1 for a while, and then you have to go and take that long, sad, lonely walk into your own jungle.
Yeah, and one thing is, in this situation, you do not want to be a low-level hero without any escape mechanisms up against Sharphic Storm Spirit. It's just not going to go well for you in general. This is one player who loves this hero, who can play and use his mana so effectively that he can just jump all over the place, dish out a ton of damage, and Sharphic is going to have a lot of good opportunities in this mid lane. For the moment, we're going to be looking at Korok on the mid lane, supported by IX Mike, but IX Mike has the full potential to just transition down towards the bottom and disrupt into Illuminate, as I was mentioning before. The issue with that is that we're not actually seeing anybody committing to the bottom lane. Servoka knows he can't, same thing as Lone Druid, knows that he cannot accomplish anything down on the off lane there, and instead wants to go into the jungle to get some reliable stacks, reliable farm, and that's pretty much what he's going to be looking at for an extended period of time, whilst pretty much the only lane of confrontation is going to be Korok versus Sharphic, seeing as we're seeing dual 4.510s, or sorry, 3.510s.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, both teams, they realize there's a very strong defensive tri-lane. Why even deal with that? And this is going to allow both teams to farm with their supports, and I gotta say, I think that does favor the Dire a little bit. Rubik and Bane getting levels is a little bit more important than this Shadow Demon and Keeper of the Light. However, one thing to note is that since the Shadow Demon is giving his pulls, if he's getting the farm in the way of getting mid pulls, it's going to keep Storm Spirit back. And Sharphic is naturally a very aggressive player, but he needs to get he likes to get an advantage early and use that to go and give him a bunch of momentum. If he starts falling behind, we've kind of seen him slip up, and while he's a fantastic player, sometimes he just plays a little bit more aggressive than is probably best for him.
Yeah. Now, one thing to keep in mind is that 3D Clan doesn't have much opportunity to transition into a push when they feel the opportunity to do so. Of course, they have the opportunity at any time, and they can just start right-clicking on the tower, but if they opt for that, I feel that Liquid can answer back that much more rapidly. They do have a Basilius available onto the Gyrocopter, so it looks like they're going to use a single pull to stack up a double wave of creeps and try to bring down these towers extremely quickly with the barrage, but I feel if Liquid wants to answer back, they have the Keeper Light and can actually push a little bit more rapidly. However, of course, they are going to be behind just not having the mindset to do that outright and responding in turn. So Nature's Prophet is going to come on through to try and reinforce the tower. No, going on to the top rune to pick up double damage. Lobo wants to have that under his belt, and we'll have to see if he can use that to do anything on this top lane, but it's just taking so much right here. There's 3 range creeps that, again, they double stack with a single pull, which would generally be unfavorable, but in this situation, you get a free tower out of it, so they're easily going to take this away. Now he's just going to go for a Trent deny. Will they get in time? They're going to waddle on through, and I don't think it's fast enough. Just too much right click. He gets it! Bulba, double damage, denies the tower, and nullifies that entire thought. Nexus unable to actually get the last hit on that, and unfortunately for him, missing out on a lot of gold.
Yeah, I mean, that was just really unfortunate. Just the base damage from Nature's Prophet is surprisingly high to begin with, and with that double damage, he's just, more than double what the Nexus had going on there, they would have needed to go and team deny that, and I don't think they had vision of the double damage on the Nature's Prophet, so just not having the mindset to do that. In the meantime, it seems like IX Mike is back. It's going well for him. He's gone and got off a bunch of mid pulls, and looking at that on the mid lane, it's not a huge discrepancy right now, but it seems like, wow, in terms of experience per minute, the Storm Spirit's actually leading, and I couldn't say why. I mean, obviously, there's going to be some leeching coming from the Shadow Demon on Puck, but it shouldn't be that significant, just like this kind of creep here.
He's in an aggressive position, though. Gonna get disrupted up. They don't have Soul Catcher, but they indeed do have the Waning Rift to pop out. Remnant going on to Korok, taking a lot of damage. But Sharfik is gonna play so aggressively, he will get the first blood. It will be 1-for-1, but Puck and IX Mike share the experience, and Puck gets the first blood, whereas Storm Spirit takes neither and drops down comparatively 400 experience per minute to Puck up against the 320. IX Mike definitely happy about how that went down.
Yeah, I mean, IX Mike is definitely going to take that. He's got a bunch of levels in farm, and it's going to help him out a bunch. But, I think Sharfik, he just made the best out of a bad situation. He knew he was probably going to die. If he just started walking back, he'd be tanking Shadow Poisons. So he's like, you know what? Let's just go for it. And I think that's just the kind of flair you expect out of a really good mid player. The ability to go and make plays happen out of basically nothing. In the meantime, it looks like top lane, there's a little bit of a festivity there. Just a lot of pulling going on. And I think this is the situation that 3D wants to happen. They want to just get a bunch of farms, get that fast level 6 on both of their supports, both who are, by the way, sitting at level 3. And that's keeping up with this Coddle, who's basically got the whole jungle to himself. And Coddle is probably one of the fastest jungle clearers. You can just keep going and stacking big camps and nuking them down with that Illuminate spam. So the fact that 3D supports are keeping up with Shadow Demon, who is able to go and get a lot of experience off of a solo mid kill, and off of a Coddle who's got the entire jungle to himself, that's going and saying something good for them.
Yeah, definitely. Now, it looks like Storm Spirit is wanting to contest the bottom room, but look at this flank coming on through. IX Mike raring to go. If they get this disruption off, he is completely screwed. They don't have any way to hold him in place, though, and he is going to wisely fall back from there. But, yeah, if he had tried to go for that room, that would have been completely suicidal, and it just shows that they have so much more control of this position. Very lucky with the spawning of it going on the bottom position instead of on the top. And from there, Dread is actually going to pop off a Nightmare, so Starfleet will get some Remnant damage, but from there, Electric Vortex is only going to do so much. Korok taking a lot of damage. Nice Waning Rift, jaunts away, will survive. Instead, the Disruption Soul Catcher with a couple of Shadow Poisons already up. IX Mike puts down a second, and that's the death of Sharfik. Really, really nice transition. Boba raring to go if they needed him, but instead, it's IX Mike with both of Liquid's kills on for himself, or at least an assist. So, doing really, really good right now. And we do see the supports transition from the top lane from 3D Clan, and that means that, actually, Batrider trying to contest Luna right here. I'm not sure about that. Either way, it means that the supports aren't going to be really worrying too much about the Gyrocopter's farm, and that's pretty much because he has an uncontested lane. But it also means that they're going to be able to branch out and get a little bit more experience, but perhaps at the cost of Sharfik, as he needs to get that ball landing up as soon as possible.
Yeah. By the way, Blaze, do you know how to get rid of this try out a hero build? Because it's just decided to pop up on me, and
I honestly haven't messed with it too much at all, so sorry about that.
Okay, no, it just disappeared on its own. And speaking of that, looking at the farm right now, it seems like, both the carries are evenly matched, but that's a ton of denies on the Luna. Really going and keeping the lane in place, and while it doesn't matter that much, in the end, it's just, a hallmark of a good player to static the lane. But it seems like, Nexus doesn't want to have anything to do with that anyway. He's just really aggressively spamming out Flacken and just trying to get a little bit more pressure on the top lane. He's not going to really be able to do significant damage, but it's enough, and it definitely adds up. And with the face boots, he's in a fairly safe position. But if the enemy's supports do decide to move around the map, he's going to be in a bit of a rough spot. Yeah. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Sharfik, he's managed to finally pick up a rune and invis this time, but without level 6, he's not really going to try to get anything done.
Yeah. I think the biggest deal right now is that because of that Bulba deny up on the top lane, that with Liquid leading through the first blood and that second kill coming out, that they actually have more potential moving on into the mid game because they have more objectives that are they're able to take. If they push down this tier 1, there's a lot of potential gold just sitting there on the map for them, and they don't really have any issues pushing down when they want to. The Keeper Light moving up to level 5 now has so much push potential, and since they're winning on kills as well, not only are they winning currently on gold advantage, but that's going to be increased substantially once they go for the actual push attempts, and there's only so much 3D can do. Batrider is moving in pretty well with jungling himself. He is going to be getting that lasso with relatively good timing, but as far as gold per minute goes, he's going to be very delayed in his Blink Dagger when you compare it to a standard solo bat.
Yeah, another interesting thing to note is that, we were talking about the Bane getting a fast level 3, but he's still been sitting on level 3 ever since then, and that's putting him in a really rough spot. When you consider this, the Keeper of the Light's almost 6, I believe the Shadow Demon, yeah, again, almost 6, and that level discrepancy is going to really hamper any attempts that Dread has in the mid-game, and, this is just because Dread came mid twice and just wasn't able to get anything done.
Illuminate bottom, Solo so low. And TC doesn't want to go for it. I'm kind of surprised that Lucent Beam would have been a sure kill, but I guess the TC support, or TP, sorry, support potential might have been a little bit too much for him to get over his head, so lets him fall back from there. The Batrider is TPing on in, but the damage to the tower has begun, and the fortification already has to come out.
Yeah, in the meantime, Storm Spirit finally popping the Invis rune. He has just hit level 6, and let's see if he's going to go and try to go on Ike's Mike here. He might actually be able to go.
Yeah, balling all over the place. He does get disrupted up, but it's only going to do so much, as he can just keep on balling away, has the magic stick, which actually was amplified by the charges that he got out of Ike's Mike. Popping off the Dream Coil, it's not enough. It's going to be the death of the Shadow Demon. However, Sharfik out of mana has no choice but to duel it out with Korok, and he's just going to be able to get the kill. So in the end, picking off a Shadow Demon, even one that's actually, never mind. There is the Batrider coming on through with Korok, and he is going to pop out that lasso, pulling him back and into the flames. That orb is going to be on cooldown for a while. Phase Shift only going to help so much, but here comes TC. Big turnaround with the Waning Rift simultaneously with that Lucent Beam, and just kind of a big surprise, as, I mean, he probably should have expected it. I mean, Luna has been farming there all game long, but just walking headfirst into a huge burst of magic damage, that's going to be his death, and unfortunately that means that was 2 major core heroes being dropped down for 1 Shadow Demon.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what his plan was there, because he's also playing against Ephirion. I think he just wanted to go over and give Korok a little hug there, because there was absolutely no way he would be able to get the kill. There was just way too much support that was available. Also, on that note, it seems like Boba has finally finished that Midas, and 9-minute Midas on a Jungling Prophet is not bad at all. Not like, super fantastic time. Given that they have no towers, he's not been able to get into any kills. It's, a perfectly reasonable time. And this is going to... Oh, it looks like Sharpik on mid.
Yeah, he's not going to get dropped down here. There's no way, but it's still going to help him continuously dish out that damage. They can follow up Bulba on the other end. Sharfik's going to try to bounce on around, ball lightning away. Here comes everybody, but a nice Fade Bolt will reduce that auto attack damage they can do. Instead, Batrider flaming on in, ball lightning on through. They're going to try to bring down. They get the kill on Fluff, but now Korok turning it around. TC being pulled back in. Doesn't have any mana available, but just right-clicks down on Sharfik. Ball lightning away. Solo hiding out in the trees will die to the Illusory Orb. So that was a very big mess, but it's 3 for 3 in the end of it. It's going to be TC surviving to pick up all that experience, and Korok, of course, pretty much doing exactly what he's been doing all game, which is coming out on top, surviving, and dishing out a lot. So he is just playing that puck. True to his style, he's very effective with it. And that Dream Coil, I think, did he even pop it off in that fight? The cooldown says yeah, so I didn't actually catch it, but generally speaking, they were just instrumental in that engage.
And that is his Blink Dagger, so it's only going to get worse from now. I got to say, though, that, the Dire, they did play that quite well. They're in a losing position right now, but they were able to get a bunch of experience on their Gyrocopter and on Sharfik as well on the Storm Spirit, so it's a little bit of breathing room they have, but unfortunately they weren't able to go and take out those big bounty heroes. They weren't able to get the Puck, they weren't able to get the Luna, and it's experience they're just missing. Looking at items, you can kind of tell the tale here. Gyrocopter only sitting at a Drum of Endurance while he's going against the Yasha, and while, drumless. But Yasha, Magic One, and Power Treads, I think he's coming up a little bit ahead on that net worth graph, and that just comes down to the fact that there's a Tower Gold on the map instead of a Deny, and also just a little bit more participation in kills.
Yeah. One thing we didn't really talk about was when the Rubik was picked up, there's a lot of different things you can spell steal here. The Dream Coil, the Illuminate, the Eclipse can be very powerful, but not really seeing that just yet. He's timed it so that he's been able to pick up a Phase Shift, which I don't think is going to be really the game changer in this circumstance here. Korok coming out to beat his face. Sharfik is going to get Dream Coiled up for the moment, and now they go on through. Fluff ready to go with that Illuminate. Lucent Beam to dish out a ton of damage, and they're actually going to be able to finish off both of them. Nexus and Sharfik both fall with amazing retaliation. And this is the problem with people playing against Team Liquid. They always initiate under towers thinking they can just do a quick little pick off and get out, but Liquid is always raring to go. Those TPs always in stock, ready to help out their team, and just showing why they've gotten to this position in their play.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, great team play from Team Liquid, and it's just, I would say, you're right, that is definitely their hallmark. In the meantime, though, they are also farming fantastically well, and they're getting this kind of slow advantage, and while this isn't as much of a shutout in Game 1, it's kind of got that same feeling. Slowly, it seems like Team Liquid's accruing an advantage, and yep, more pickoffs like this, it's just going to get harder and harder for them to do something. And Korok nicely blinking out there.
Yeah, that was my bad. I did miss it on the screen, but Korok with that Blink Dagger can do wonders, and he was able to hold his opponent in place and bring him down very, very quickly. So just a couple of right clicks to help out from his allies, and they pretty much can not contribute much more than that, but they don't need to. Korok has so much setup, he pretty much finishes it off all by himself and just needs a little tiny bit of help. Speaking of, down and bottom, Fluff is going to drop down to the Firefly. TC trying to finish off on Sharfik, doesn't get the opportunity, just pops off the Eclipse on the bat, and from there they will just have to fall back. Spell stealing the Eclipse, Solo does have it, but he is trapped in for the trees, doesn't have a Tango, instead burns down Shadow Demon, almost finishes off on Bulba, but he does get defensively disrupted, and it looks like he will be able to get out. Solo, in over his head, gets loose and beamed up, and a couple of right clicks will go his way to finish him off, but Brain Sap Dread rotating on in, just needs a little bit more to finish off Bulba. She's trying to juke in the trees, no TP scroll yet, trying to run around in circles, trap him with the creeps, getting recalled back. If he gets recalled, no, Fiend's Grip interrupts it, but still, with Korok finishing off on Dread, it's been too long, and Korok was able to jump in and keep Bulba alive, just dancing around the trees all day long. It's like he lives in the forest or something, man. That was good.
Yeah, no, those treants were definitely Furon's bros there. They were able to go and give a lot of blocking for that Bane, and that must have been so frustrating for Dread. He's just not able to go and catch up, and there's these stupid little treants that are just going and blocking the entire time. I believe that it isn't treants, it's just a melee creep now, so that's on me. But it's looking at items though, like this Batrider, he's sitting at 1300 gold, and if he doesn't get a Blink Dagger like anytime soon, sometime soon, he's going to be in a really bad spot. And also look at the Storm Spirit, level 8, doesn't even have treads yet. Like, this is not the Sharfik we come to expect, and it's just because Team Liquid, they're playing really well, they're playing really defensively, and oh my god, I think Korok can almost get a solo kill here.
Yeah, doesn't really have any issue with that. I mean, he doesn't have the Dream Coil, so I don't think he'll be able to finish him off entirely, but he definitely can cause him any kind of grief he needs, and yeah, that initiation, Bulba came through with the Wrath of Nature alone. It was only rank 1 Wrath, but you're right, he can just dish out so much damage, and people underestimate this little guy, but 280 on 2 spells, that is a nice little burst, and he has gotten so much attack damage out of the Int Treads, out of the Oblivion Staff. He can hit hard, and people don't come to expect that from Puck, who's pretty much just for utility picks in general in a lot of different teams, but Korok doesn't play him this way. He plays him to hit hard and bring down the opposition before they even see it coming.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, just again, that the bounce from
going Dream Coil onto Batrider, another pick off all day long. He does get actually stunned up by the Centaur, who just came out to say hi, but Bulba coming in, this should be his death one way or another.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. Like, this is just the kind of team play coming from Liquid, just in another sense. We were talking about how good they are defensively. This is how good they are aggressively. Korok goes and sees a Storm Spirit. He's just like, the Furion's ulti, it's just been waiting for that time. And when they realize there's a decent chance, they wait for it, see if it bounce is going to go, and immediately go for the kill. Also, looking at itemization, this is going to be probably one of the best Orchids you're going to see on a Puck in a while. He already has a bunch of attack speed. He's going to get a bunch of damage coming from that Luna. That level 4 Lucent Blessing, they're giving him plus 38 damage. That increased attack speed is going to make it super useful. And beyond that, just going and silencing up every single hero on the Dire team does not want to be silenced. Orchid's going to be super effective, and I just think it's a great buy. Normally you'd go and see something a little bit more defensive, something like, you know, perhaps you'd see Force Staff, you see Lincolns, you see Cyclone, but just going even more aggressive and, you know, going for something that's going to give him a little bit more damage than a straight Hex.
No, the Tier 1 does drop on bottom, the Tier 2 up on top. So favorable exchange for Team Liquid once more, and they just keep on this kind of relentless aggression. They can stay all over the place, control the enemy's jungle, love the warding, coming in and out, the Plateau wards, the Rune wards, even a central jungle ward for ganking they've had up for a while, and that's what set them up to initiate on the Batrider and follow through with multiple kills that set them up for push, 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 and that's what they follow up with. This team is great at not only taking really, really good early skirmishes, but following it up with permanent objectives, taking down towers, getting gold advantage, and from there, Luna's going to be looking for a very well-timed BKB.
Yeah, if she's able to get that BKB sometime around 20 minutes, they can look to use that, try to get a Roche off, and you know it's going to be even harder to go. In the meantime, Puck has finished that Orchid, and it's going to be basically, if he goes and catches someone, they are going to die. And let's see if he's going to try to make some plays happen on Nexus. He does not have that Orchid up, it's flying up to him, but if he does have, you know, his best buddy Bulba, they can go and TP in at any time.
Yeah, so that's what they're looking for. They have the IX mic available as well. Just popping off a Demonic Purge alone would set up this kill. So they're going to go in, Bulba, looking for that Sprout, but the Demonic Purge, they just need the right clicks. Call down does come on through, but it's only going to alleviate a little bit of the fact that he is just completely shredded, caught out 1 versus 3, and that's one of those things that if they have this kind of vision and they know the enemy doesn't, then Korok can just stalk all day long and find these pickoffs on the carry. Now Gyrocopter sitting at 1, 2, and 1. He is on top of last hits, but as far as items go, he's going to be behind as far as BKB.
Oh, this poor Rubik is actually dead.
And yeah, that's there's only so much you can do. Put up that ward. Yeah, you have vision of your enemies jumping all over you and bring you down. It's just pretty much a 1-second life flash before your eyes moment, and that'll probably be sentry door up immediately. Yeah, the Shadow Demon IX Mike already has that available, and they're going to take that off the board. So Sharfik is pushing down onto the bottom, but the pressure is relentless, and Sharfik isn't one of those players or playing a hero, Storm Spirit, that would really care to just sit down and split push a lane. He wants to be ganking, finding kills, finding pickoffs, all by himself, and instead he's just remnanting down creeps and then running for his life, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, there's just not much you can do about that. Also to note that...
initiating on to TC, they get the Fiend's Grip, they do a lot of damage, and they will probably get this kill right here. So yeah, Brain Sap will guarantee it. Trying to TP away, can they both get on out? The one does. The Korok pops off the Waning Rift to finish off the Storm, though. Nice Orchid, making sure he couldn't ball lightning away. Unfortunately, didn't have the Dream Coil to stop the Bane, but they focused their target, they took down their primary opponent, Sharfik. I mean, looking at levels, level 16 Puck is just going up against level 11 Gyro and 10 Storm and Batrider. So really has just the full arsenal of his abilities to keep his advantage moving and just snowball on through.
Yeah, one little glimmer of hope that 3D has to their name is that they in fact have that Blink Dagger on Batrider, so he's going to be able to go for those kind of initiations, and he's just about to hit level 11. So they've shown that they can go and get those solo pickoffs, such as on TC. But once she gets a BKB, that's not going to happen. They're going to need to rely on that Batrider ultimate quite a bit. Another thing to note is that they're going to be Bulba's decided to be Orchid buddies with Korok here, and when they go and pick up, yep, there's that pickup, and again, it's a lot of attack speed. Looks like Solo's dead again, by the way, on that bot lane.
Yeah, anyway.
Got it. So again, just a lot of attack speed that synergizes so well with the flat damage you get from Luna, and god, look how much damage a Shadow Demon does. He was able to even take that down, just over 100 damage on Shadow Demon. It's such a pain to go and deal with. I wouldn't have been surprised to go and see a Necrobook picked up, but it seems like they just want to be super aggressive and just mow down these towers. They have the ability to do so, and you know, Team Liquid's not one of those teams that's going to go and mess around when they don't have to.
Yeah. Okay. Now that we do see that drum up on the Gyro and the blink up on the bat, I have to say that there's more mobility on 3D Clan's lineup. They can maneuver and try to find the opening, but last game we saw Batrider have a Blink Dagger and a Force Staff for quite some time and didn't really see those kind of iconic pickoffs for the hero. He was a little bit more reluctant to jump in because Liquid showed that they could focus him down really, really quickly, see an opportunity, see a real threat, and neutralize it immediately. So Servo playing a little bit more conservatively, he won't be able to really jump into where he wants to and play super aggressively. And we do see after the Roche falls that they're trying to jump around a little bit with the Nature's Prophet to find an opening.
Yep, and you know, this was a Roshan that, to be honest, 3D couldn't contest and couldn't allow to give away because they're in a really hard position now. Luna's just about finished that BKE, yeah, just, you know, barely away from it, just about has it right now. And when you're going and dealing with the Luna, she can just run in with that Aegis. You're going to be forced to use spells on her because, you know, she's just going to tank a lot of damage and come out, pop out of Aegis, pop her BKB, use Eclipse, and, you know, clean up whatever was left. This is a great way to go onto that high ground. And again, it's just like the money is just so far in Team Liquid's favor. Looks like Korok is going straight for the Hex. Bulba's got 2k gold in the bank. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for, you know, again, I think a Necrobook would be a really good buy, just getting a few more auras to go with that Lunar Blessing. And they can just make a move for high ground within the next 6 minutes.
Yeah, but while that's all happening, we are seeing Sharfik move for a BKB of his own. If he can pick that up, he could actually initiate very, very reliably, jump on in, and they don't really have any magic piercing disables to go on through. They really don't have to worry about that one little bit. And so if they do get the BKB up on the Storm, up on the Gyrocopter as well, they can just try. The only thing they have to worry about is pure right-click damage. Of course, that is quite a menace, seeing as they don't have a mechanism just yet, but it's still something that gives them a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. They could try to be moving on forward with that magic immunity, but speaking of TC already having that finished out, trying to close the distance on Dread, and he has so much mobility with he's just going to be able to close the distance, and Dread hiding from the trees, now gets a night. No, it's not enough. Just too much right click damage, bursted down immediately, and that's just a quick easy pickoff.
Yep, and with this quick and easy pickup, they can go and look to put some pressure on. It seems like, you know, Sharfik has just gone and he's been split pushing this tremendously well. This is actually what he needs to do. That he can't really pick a fight, so he's just making it really uncomfortable for Team Liquid to do anything. But it seems like they're just going to be like, okay, you know what, you're going to get some damage on the tower. Let's just go and pressure your mid. They are forced to glyph their bot tower, and you know, if they well, with that ultimate, I wonder if, yeah, it does not seem like they're going to lose that tower, and they're going to be able to put a ton of damage on top, on mid.
So they're going to be, forcing this down quickly. Fortification comes out for 3D Clan themselves, and they have to make an action very, very shortly. Jumping on in, Korok takes the first strike, and he goes on through. So Orchid up on Servo, so he's not going to be able to accomplish anything. Sharfik Orchid it up as well. Completely obliterate here. The Fiend's Grip on Korok. They're going to burn him down. Nice AoE from Nexus. Completely obliterating everybody but TC, who's standing and delivering. Still has that Aegis. The BKB only about to expire 4 seconds away. They have to fall back. That was really, really nice pickoff on Batrider, and did Sharfik buy back? He indeed did. So they did get 2 kills out of that, but Nexus actually would force them out. Perfect call down, flat cannon on everyone, and he was able to at least hold them at bay.
Yeah, but I mean, they weren't able to kill the Korok, and they can just go again. This is a lot of regen, you know. IX Mike has gone and turned himself into a little dispensary here. He's got a ton of urn charges that he's willing to burn, and they can just do this again. Now, how many times can 3D go and do this? They don't have their cooldowns they were hoping on. They had to use Fiend's Grip and Call Down, and Team Liquid, they didn't really use anything that important. The Eclipse is down, sure, BKB is down, but Luna just does a ton of right-click damage.
Call Down is back up, same with the Lasso. They want to jump in on this, but Korok again starting things off, pressuring them back while TC just right-clicks down onto the racks. They need to make a move. Ball lightning goes on through. Sharfik is in the fray, but he's just taking too much damage. Orchid's on both of them again. Perfect timing there. Solo gonna drop really quick. No, barely survives. Walks away. Batrider getting the Lasso, but disrupted defensively by IX Mike. Servo taking a lot of damage. Gets dropped down with that Illuminate to finish the job. Dread taking a lot of hits. Tries to Nightmare away, and the Glade's gonna interrupt it, but it still allow him to walk back to the base, trying to heal up from the fountain, but the racks have fallen, and that's what they've been looking for this entire time. Have finally taken that very key objective, and they're not really done yet. They're going to farm up a little bit on top lane, and they can still roam around, pick up a few money buildings. Apparently Korok wants to clear up some sentries, just do whatever he needs to do. A couple of extra little bits of gold here and there. That GPM not high enough for him.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta go farm huts. This is like, you know, pub play 101. But see, now look at this. This is a really irritating thing. You're playing against
Initiation. Sharfik goes in on TC, trying to bring him down. BKB is available, though. Tries to turn things around, but he's on such low life. Nexus right-clicking him down. Almost finishes the job. He does drop. Aegis on cooldown. Sharfik dropping after having broken off the Dream Coil, so that is 3 down in the grave, and full HP TC, raring to go, putting some damage into Nexus, and he's actually going to try to TP away, so he will technically succeed in that, but they can put damage into Batrider here, finishing him off really quickly, and now forcing down on the tier 3. I would not be surprised to see, there it is, GG coming on out.
Yeah, I mean, this was just a well-played game from Team Liquid. They played very safely, they played very defensively, and they were able to go and shut down Sharfik in the beginning of the game. I think 3D, they put on a very good series. They've shown that they have the capabilities to go and hang with the best teams, but it just wasn't quite enough this time. They, you know, got punished early on, and I think they just need to go and figure out some way. I got to say, the man of the match, in my opinion, has to be IX Mike. He's just always been in the right spot. He's not gotten picked off, and it's just so impressive when you see a Shadow Demon have the kind of impact that he has been able to have.
Yeah, on mid lane over and over. Yeah. Made sure that the Sharfik couldn't get off the ground, and that was pretty much, like you said, the thing that they were hinging on to put them into the mid-game control, and a 25-minute game going instead in favor of Liquid, that's where it fell apart. But just to remind those viewers that haven't heard it or just forgot about it, we do have a feature coming up on the live stream after this game. It's going to be called Ask the Pros. Jump into the chat. At a certain point, I'll ask for questions for one of the Team Liquid members. Generally, we have Bulba, but we might have somebody else as well. We'll see, but we're going to have Ask the Pros coming on up, so you want to check out that. It's going to be a live post-match interview on twitch.tv/the Premier League. So in-game people can jump on over to that, or the twitch.tv people can sit tight for a little bit. But this was a pretty awesome game. Any other closing thoughts on the match?
Oh man, I think this was just really well played from Team Liquid, and they just showed that, you know, when they're doing things they're comfortable with here, you know, when they have that puck, when they have a lot of AoE, when they have these kind of like strong global heroes, they're able to go and support their allies very well, and they have like TC playing that late game carry they can fall back on. They look pretty unbeatable. But when they're forced into something a little bit outside of their comfort zone, when they did that Visage, you know, Clockwork tri-lane, when they kind of lost mid to just pulls and stuff, they can be beaten. Team Liquid isn't an unbeatable team. You just have to go and force them out of their comfort zone. And I think that 3D, they did a good job game 2 doing that.
Most definitely. Well, that's going to be it for us as far as the games go. This has been the Premier League Blaze and Rainmaker, bringing you guys this best-of-3 series, and with this Game 3 going in favor of Team Liquid, it's going to be a 2-1 series match taken to them. So they're going to go on forward with another point on the tally, moving in towards those playoffs in April. And thank you guys so much for tuning in. It was an honor to cast for you guys, and you all have a good one.
Yep, GG's, guys.